Hey guys, tonight we venture into the most forbidden corners of the galaxy, where ancient darkness sleeps beneath layers of myth and shadow. We're exploring the deepest Sith mysteries that even the most powerful Dark Lords feared to fully understand. From sealed chambers beneath Korriban to cosmic secrets that predate the Republic itself, this is a journey into knowledge so dangerous that it was buried not just in tombs, but in the very fabric of galactic history. So before you settle in for this epic journey, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy these deep dives into Star Wars lore. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always amazing to see fellow Star Wars fans joining us from across the world, united by our love for the galaxy far, far away. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. Get comfortable in your blanket, and let's ease into tonight's journey together through the darkest mysteries the galaxy has ever known. When you think of the dark side, you might imagine red lightsabers clashing, lightning crackling from fingertips, and the dramatic fall of heroes to villainy. But beneath these surface manifestations lies something far more ancient and terrifying. Something that made even Darth Revan, conqueror of the Starforge, seal away certain discoveries rather than claim their power. Deep beneath the ancient Sith world of Korriban, in chambers that exist below even the deepest known tombs, there echoes a sound that should not exist. Not the whisper of wind through stone corridors, not the settling of ancient architecture, but something else entirely. A rhythmic pulsing, like a heartbeat, yet not organic. Mechanical, yet somehow alive with malevolent consciousness that has waited in darkness for millennia. The last person to hear this sound was a figure lost to history, whose name was deliberately erased from every record, every holocron, every whispered legend. They stood in that hidden chamber with trembling hands, faced with a choice that would echo across galactic history. Before them lay power beyond imagination, knowledge that could reshape the very nature of the Force itself. Yet they chose to seal it away, leaving behind only a single message carved into the chamber wall in their own blood. The message read simply, "Some doors should never be opened. Some hungers should never be fed. What sleeps here dreams of a galaxy remade in its image, and those dreams are patient enough to span eternity." But what was this ancient power that even the most ambitious Sith Lord refused to claim? What force was so terrifying that its very existence was erased from galactic memory? And why, after thousands of years of silence, are the seals beginning to weaken? Tonight we follow the footsteps of those brave enough to seek these answers, knowing that some knowledge changes you forever. We'll walk through archives thought destroyed, explore tombs that exist outside normal space and time, and uncover a conspiracy that spans not just centuries, but entire galactic cycles. The darkness calls, and we will answer. But remember, in the deepest shadows of the galaxy, sometimes the greatest danger isn't what you might find, but what might find you first. 100 years have passed since the Battle of Endor, and the galaxy has settled into what historians call the golden peace of the New Republic. The great wars that defined generations have become stories told to younglings, and the Jedi Academy on Ossus stands rebuilt, its crystal spires reaching towards stars that no longer echo with the screams of dying worlds. But peace, as any student of galactic history knows, is often when the most dangerous truths choose to surface. Deep within the restricted archive vault, beneath layers of ancient stone that remember the planet's destruction and rebirth, you walk corridors that most Jedi will never see. Your name is Vex Thorn, keeper of forbidden knowledge, and you carry a burden that sets you apart from your fellow Jedi, in ways both subtle and profound. The soft blue glow of containment fields illuminates your path as you move between sealed chambers, each one housing artifacts that could corrupt a lesser mind within moments of contact. Here rests a Sith holocron that whispers promises of immortality. There stands a statue carved from Corriban crystal that shows viewers their darkest possible futures, and in the deepest vault, behind multiple layers of force barriers, lies your most dangerous charge, fragments of knowledge that predate the Sith themselves. Your footsteps echo in the silence, a rhythm that has become as familiar as your own heartbeat during these long years of study. The Academy sleeps above you, filled with students who dream of becoming guardians of peace and justice. They do not know that their safety depends in part on someone willing to touch darkness without being consumed by it. This is your gift and your curse. Where other Jedi would feel the immediate pull of corruption when handling dark side artifacts, you experience something different entirely. The darkness recognizes something in you, something that allows you to study its secrets without losing yourself to its hunger. Master Kira Voss, your former teacher, discovered this ability during your trials as a young Padawan, when you successfully cleansed a Sith blade that had driven 3 previous Jedi to madness. She feared for you then, and she fears for you still. The ancient stone walls around you seem to pulse with accumulated history, decades of dark artifacts contained within their embrace. Dust motes drift through shafts of artificial moonlight, streaming from hidden luminous panels, each speck floating like the ghost of some long-dead Sith Lord whose legacy you now guard. There is a weight here that goes beyond the physical, a pressure of accumulated knowledge that presses against your consciousness like deep ocean water against a diving bell. Your constant companion in these depths is K7X9, an archaeological droid whose sleek form has been extensively modified for your unique work. His sensors can detect dark side emanations at levels far beyond organic perception, and his memory banks contain detailed scans of every artifact in your care. More importantly, his droid nature makes him immune to the subtle whispers that dark side artifacts use to corrupt organic minds. Keeper Thorn. His voice cuts through the silence with mechanical precision. The temporal resonance readings from Vault 7 have increased by 12% over the past rotation. Should I initiate enhanced containment protocols? You pause beside the vault in question, feeling the familiar tingle of ancient power pressing against the force barriers that keep it contained. Inside rests something that arrived 3 days ago through channels so secretive that even you do not know its origin. A crystalline fragment that seems to exist partially outside normal space and time, its surface reflecting not light, but memories of civilizations that fell before the Republic was even dreamed of. Maintain current protocols, you respond, though your enhanced sensitivity tells you that K7X9's readings are conservative. The artifact is not just growing stronger, it is growing more aware, but increase monitoring frequency to every quarter hour. As you continue deeper into the archives, past chambers containing the preserved libraries of extinct Sith cults and the fossilized remains of dark-side creatures from forgotten worlds, you cannot shake the feeling that something is building. The artifacts in your care have been restless lately, their emanations creating harmonics that speak of connections you do not yet understand. It began subtly, weeks ago, a holocron activating for precisely 3 seconds at midnight, an ancient text whose pages turned themselves to a specific passage, a carved stone that hummed with energy, despite having been dormant for centuries. Individually, these incidents meant nothing. Together, they suggested a pattern that made your skin crawl with anticipation. Tonight feels different. The very air seems thick with possibility, as if the galaxy itself is holding its breath before some momentous revelation. Your force sensitivity, already heightened by years of exposure to dark side emanations, picks up currents of destiny flowing like invisible rivers through the depths of the archive. You reach your personal study chamber, a circular room carved from solid stone and lined with monitoring equipment that would make an Imperial intelligence officer envious. Here, surrounded by carefully catalogued mysteries, you have spent countless nights piecing together fragments of galactic history that official records claim never existed. Your work desk bears the scars of years spent handling artifacts that resist conventional study. Burn marks from Sith lightning trapped in crystal matrices. Frost patterns from ancient ice weapons that still carry the cold of long-dead worlds. And strange symbols that seem to shift when viewed directly, as if they exist in more dimensions than human eyes can properly perceive. But tonight, your attention is drawn to something new. A message crystal sits at the center of your workspace, its surface bearing the seal of an organization you thought had been destroyed decades ago. The Imperial Archaeological Division, the Emperor's personal team of relic hunters who disappeared during the chaos following the Battle of Endor. The crystal pulses with a soft red light, indicating an encrypted message waiting to be decoded. Your training tells you to report this to the Jedi Council immediately. Your instincts, honed by years of studying forbidden knowledge, whisper that some discoveries are too dangerous to share until you understand their true nature. As you reach for the crystal, K7X9 sensors detect your elevated stress levels. Keeper Thorn, your biometric reading suggests significant anxiety. Perhaps you should meditate before proceeding with whatever has captured your attention. You smile at your mechanical companion's concern, even as your fingers close around the crystal. The moment you make contact, visions flash through your mind. Ancient tombs beneath worlds that do not appear on any star charts. Imperial excavation teams uncovering artifacts that should not exist, and always in the background of these visions, the sound of that impossible heartbeat echoing from the depths of Korriban. The message begins to decode, its contents promising answers to questions you have carried for years. But even as anticipation builds within you, a deeper part of your consciousness recognizes the truth that will define everything that follows. Some invitations, once accepted, transform the invited as much as they reveal the mystery that called to them. The crystal's light grows brighter, and somewhere in the deepest vaults of the archive, ancient things begin to stir in response to the resonance of awakening secrets. The crystal's surface grows warm beneath your touch, as layers of encryption dissolve like morning mist on Alderaan's vanished plains. What emerges is not the crude imperial propaganda you might expect, but something far more sophisticated. A message that speaks in the careful language of scholars who have spent lifetimes studying mysteries that predate recorded history. The hologram that materializes before you shows not an imperial officer, but a woman whose age is difficult to determine. Her features bear the weathered quality of someone who has spent years in the field, examining ruins under alien suns, yet her eyes hold the sharp intelligence of a master archivist. She wears simple archaeological gear, marked with symbols you do not immediately recognize, though something about their angular geometry stirs memories of texts you have studied in your deepest research. Keeper Thorn. Her recorded voice carries the weight of exhaustion mixed with desperate hope. My name is Dr. Lyra Kane, and I am one of the last surviving members of the Emperor's Archaeological Division. Before you dismiss this message as imperial propaganda or some trap designed to corrupt Jedi ideals, I ask only that you listen to what I have discovered in the decades since the Empire's fall. The hologram flickers, and you notice details that speak to the message's authenticity. The background shows what appears to be a makeshift laboratory carved from living rock, filled with scanning equipment and artifacts that make your carefully controlled archive seem sparse by comparison. More telling are the signs of long habitation, worn paths in the stone floor, jury-rigged equipment showing years of field modifications, and the particular quality of artificial lighting that comes from generators pushed far beyond their intended lifespan. The Archaeological Division was never what the galaxy believed it to be. Dr. Kane continues, her image stabilizing as the crystal's projection systems fully engage. Yes, we served the Emperor, but not in the way that history records. We were not treasure hunters seeking baubles to decorate his throne room, nor were we weapons researchers developing new tools of oppression. We were guardians, Keeper Thorn, protectors of knowledge so dangerous that it required imperial resources to contain it properly. The hologram pauses, and you see the weight of years in the woman's expression. She looks directly at the recording device, with eyes that have seen too much, yet remain resolute in their purpose. I know what you are thinking. How can any knowledge be so dangerous that it justifies the Empire's methods? The answer lies not in what we discovered, but in what discovered us. There are forces in this galaxy far older than the Republic, older than the Jedi Order itself, and they have been waiting with patience that spans geological ages for the right moment to reclaim what they consider their property. The background of the hologram shifts, revealing portions of what must be an extensive archive. You glimpse shelves carved directly into stone walls, filled with artifacts that seem to bend light around themselves in ways that suggest technologies beyond current galactic understanding. Some of these items bear resemblances to pieces in your own collection, though the scale and sophistication evident in Dr. Kane's facility dwarfs anything you have encountered. 27 years ago, shortly after the Battle of Endor, our excavation teams on Drummond Cass uncovered something that changed everything we thought we knew about galactic history. Beneath the deepest Sith ruins, in chambers that existed before the first Dark Lords ever set foot on that cursed world, we found evidence of a civilization that makes the Rakata Infinite Empire look like primitive tool users. Your breath catches as the implications begin to unfold. The Rakata, with their Starforge and galactic-spanning empire, represent the oldest advanced civilization known to galactic historians. The idea that something predates them by enough to make them appear primitive suggests a historical timeline that extends far beyond anything in the Jedi archives. But that was only the beginning. Dr. Kane's voice takes on an urgency that transmits clearly across the years since this message was recorded. The deeper we excavated, the more we realized that we were not discovering ruins. We were uncovering monitoring stations, observation posts that have been active and recording galactic events for far longer than our species has existed. The hologram flickers again, and when it stabilizes, Dr. Kane is holding what appears to be a crystalline device similar to the one now warming your palm. These communication crystals were found in buried chambers across 17 different worlds, each one positioned to observe the rise and fall of civilizations. The pattern is unmistakable. Keeper Thorn, someone or something has been watching us, cataloging our development, recording our conflicts and our growth with the patience of entities that measure time in geological epochs. Your training as a Jedi tells you to be skeptical of such extraordinary claims, yet your experience with dark side artifacts has taught you that the galaxy contains mysteries far beyond the scope of conventional understanding. The crystalline device in your hand pulses with energy signatures that your enhanced sensitivity recognizes as fundamentally different from anything in your archive. This is not Sith technology, nor is it the work of any known civilization. I know you have questions, the hologram continues, as if Dr. Kane somehow anticipated your thoughts across the decades separating her recording from your viewing. Why contact a Jedi? Why now? Why you specifically? The answers lie in what we discovered about these ancient observers. They are not simply recording galactic history for academic interest. They are conducting experiments. Keeper Thorn, using entire civilizations as test subjects in research that spans multiple galactic cycles. The weight of this revelation settles over you like a shroud. If Dr. Kane's claims are accurate, then every major conflict in galactic history, every rise and fall of empire, every emergence of force-sensitive orders like the Jedi and Sith might be nothing more than variables in an experiment conducted by beings whose motives remain completely alien. The Emperor knew. Dr. Kane's voice drops to almost a whisper, forcing you to lean closer to the hologram. In his final years, he was not simply seeking to extend his own life or crush the rebellion. He was attempting to contact these ancient observers, to negotiate with them directly, rather than remain a subject in their experiments. His failure to do so may have been the real reason the Empire fell. When you try to change the parameters of an experiment from within, the experimenters tend to reset the conditions. The hologram shows Dr. Kane moving through her underground facility, past equipment that hums with barely contained energy and artifacts that seem to watch her passage with invisible eyes. She stops before a massive stone wall covered in symbols that hurt to look at directly, even through the buffer of holographic projection. This brings me to why I am contacting you, Keeper Thorn. Your reputation for handling dangerous artifacts without corruption has spread beyond Jedi circles. More importantly, your unique sensitivity to dark side emanations may be exactly what is needed to decode the true nature of these ancient observers. You see, they are not bound by the light side or dark side dichotomy that defines Force-sensitive philosophy. They exist outside such limitations, using the Force itself as a tool rather than a philosophy. The implications of this statement reverberate through your understanding of galactic metaphysics. If the Force itself is merely a tool created or manipulated by these ancient observers, then everything the Jedi teach about balance and the natural order of the universe might be based on incomplete information. I am prepared to share the location of our primary research facility. Dr. Kane continues, her image now showing the strain of years spent in isolation with knowledge too dangerous to share. But I must warn you that accepting this information will change you fundamentally. There is no returning to ignorance once you have seen the true scope of the experiment that encompasses all galactic civilization. The knowledge I offer is not just dangerous to possess, it is dangerous to exist with. The crystal in your hand grows noticeably warmer, its internal energies responding to the climactic moment of the message. You realize that this warmth is not simply thermal energy, but something that resonates with your Force sensitivity in ways that suggest the crystal itself is more than a simple recording device. The choice is yours, Keeper Thorn. You can destroy this crystal and return to your valuable but limited work in the Jedi archives, protecting the galaxy from Sith artifacts and other known threats. Or you can accept the coordinates I am about to transmit and join the handful of beings in galactic history who have attempted to understand the true nature of our existence. Dr. Kane pauses, and in that silence you feel the weight of decision settling over you like the gravity of a massive star. Everything you have worked for, every artifact you have catalogued and contained, every night spent studying forbidden knowledge in the depths of the archive has led to this moment of choice. If you choose to come, bring only what you can carry and tell no one of your destination. The observers have ways of monitoring communication, and premature exposure of our research could result in experimental parameters being reset in ways that would be catastrophic for current galactic civilization. The coordinates will remain active for exactly 72 standard hours from the time you receive this message. After that, the location will be moved to prevent discovery by entities we are not yet prepared to contact. The hologram flickers one final time, and Dr. Kane's final words carry a mixture of hope and resignation that speaks to years of isolation with truths too vast for any single mind to contain. Remember, Keeper Thorn, some invitations are actually summons in disguise. The ancient observers may have guided this message to you as much as my own intentions did. Either way, the galaxy may depend on someone with your unique abilities being willing to step beyond the boundaries of conventional understanding. The crystal dims, leaving you alone in your study chamber, with K7X9's soft mechanical humming, and the weight of knowledge that already begins to change how you perceive everything around you. The familiar artifacts in your archive now seem like children's toys compared to the scope of mysteries that Dr. Kane has revealed. Yet even as your rational mind catalogues the impossibilities and dangers inherent in her claims, your deeper instincts recognize the truth that will define everything that follows. You are no longer simply a keeper of forbidden knowledge. You have become a participant in mysteries that span the lifetime of the galaxy itself. and the ancient observers whose experiment encompasses all known civilization have finally taken notice of your existence. The choice that faces you is not simply between safety and danger, but between the comfortable limitations of known mysteries and the terrifying vastness of ultimate truth. The journey through hyperspace takes 3 days, though time itself seems fluid when you are traveling toward knowledge that will reshape your understanding of existence. Your modified Jedi transport cuts through the star lanes toward coordinates that exist in no official navigation database, following a path that leads deeper into the unknown regions than any Republic vessel has traveled in recorded history. K7X9 monitors the ship's systems with mechanical precision, while you meditate in the passenger compartment, attempting to prepare your mind for revelations that Dr. Kane's message suggested would fundamentally alter your perception of reality. Yet even in the deepest states of force-enhanced meditation, you cannot quiet the whisper of anticipation that has grown stronger with each parsec of distance from the familiar territories of the galaxy. The asteroid field appears gradually on your sensors, a dense cluster of rocky debris that shows no signs of the cosmic violence that typically creates such formations. These asteroids drift in patterns too regular to be natural, their positions suggesting careful placement rather than random gravitational collapse. As your ship penetrates deeper into the field, guided by navigational data transmitted by Dr. Kane's crystal, you begin to detect energy signatures that should not exist in what appears to be empty space. The research station reveals itself slowly, like a massive predator emerging from carefully constructed camouflage. What you initially mistook for the largest asteroid in the field proves to be an artificial construct of staggering size, its surface covered with rocky debris that has been positioned to mimic natural formation. The structure beneath this camouflage shows architectural elements that blend imperial engineering with techniques that seem far more ancient and sophisticated. Docking procedures are handled by automated systems that respond to authentication codes transmitted by your crystal. As your ship settles into a bay carved from solid rock, you notice that the facility's internal atmosphere is maintained by technologies you do not recognize. The air itself carries a subtle charge that makes your force sensitivity tingle with awareness of energies that exist just beyond the edge of perception. Dr. Kane meets you at the airlock, and you are struck by how much older she appears than her holographic message suggested. Years of isolation with dangerous knowledge have carved lines of exhaustion into her features, yet her eyes burn with the intensity of someone who has glimpsed truths that most minds cannot safely contain. She is accompanied by 2 other figures, a Twi'lek archaeologist whose leku bear the ritual scarification of deep academic achievement, and a human technician whose cybernetic implants suggest extensive modification for interfacing with unknown technologies. "Welcome to Archive Station Omega," Dr. Kane says, as she leads you deeper into the facility. The last repository of Imperial Archaeological Division research, and perhaps the only place in the galaxy where the true scope of galactic history can be safely studied. The corridors stretch far beyond what the external dimensions of the station should allow, suggesting construction techniques that manipulate space itself in ways that transcend conventional engineering. The walls are lined with viewing ports that display not the expected vista of the asteroid field, but images that shift and change as you watch: ancient cities beneath alien skies, massive structures that dwarf even the Death Star, and star charts showing galactic configurations that do not match any known historical period. "Those are not recorded images," the Twi'lek archaeologist explains, noticing your fascination with the changing displays. "They are live transmissions from monitoring stations positioned throughout what we have come to call the Deep Archive. The ancient observers maintained surveillance equipment on thousands of worlds, most of which are not included in any modern star charts." Your first glimpse of the main archive chamber takes your breath away. The space extends in all directions far beyond the apparent size of the station, filled with holographic displays that show the rise and fall of civilizations across galactic history. Ancient empires you have never heard of flicker through their life cycles, while star charts rearrange themselves to show galactic configurations spanning millions of years. At the center of this display stands a crystalline structure similar to the communication device that brought you here, but on a scale that suggests functions far beyond simple message transmission. This is the Central Archive, Dr. Kane explains, as she guides you toward the massive crystal structure. It contains observational data covering approximately 4 million years of galactic history, including detailed records of civilizations that existed long before the first hyperspace routes were mapped. What you see here represents the smallest fraction of the total database maintained by the ancient observers. The scale of information contained within the archive is almost incomprehensible. Holographic displays show the development of species that achieved galactic civilization and then vanished without trace, leaving no evidence of their existence in conventional archaeological records. Others demonstrate technological achievements that make the Empire's greatest engineering projects appear primitive by comparison. Most disturbing are the records that show patterns of development and collapse that repeat across different species and time periods with mathematical precision. The observers have been conducting controlled experiments in galactic evolution, the cybernetically enhanced technician explains as he interfaces directly with the archive systems through neural links. Each major civilization has been guided through similar developmental phases, with variables adjusted to test different hypotheses about consciousness, technology, and the nature of existence itself. As you study the data streams flowing through the archive, patterns begin to emerge that chill you with their implications. The rise of the Sith, the formation of the Republic, even the emergence of the Jedi Order appear to follow templates that have been repeated with minor variations across dozens of previous civilizations. The conflicts that have shaped galactic history, the heroes and villains whose actions seem to emerge from individual choice and circumstance, may be nothing more than predictable outcomes of experimental parameters established by beings whose motivations remain completely alien. The Force itself appears to be one of their primary tools. Dr. Kane continues, her voice carrying the weight of revelations that have cost her years of normal existence. What we experience as the light side and dark side may be different settings in a vast apparatus designed to study the development of consciousness under varying conditions. The Jedi and Sith represent different experimental groups, each one responding to stimuli provided by entities whose existence spans geological time periods. The crystalline archive pulses with inner light as you approach, and your enhanced sensitivity detects layers of information that exist beyond the holographic displays. The data stored within this structure operates on multiple dimensional levels, with some information existing in states that can only be perceived through Force-enhanced consciousness. As you reach out tentatively with your unique abilities, fragments of knowledge begin to filter into your awareness, like pieces of a vast puzzle whose complete picture remains frustratingly elusive. Ancient star charts unfold in your mind, showing galactic configurations from periods when the current spiral arms were arranged differently and species that now populate the known galaxy existed only as primitive organisms on primordial worlds. You see the construction of massive installations that dwarf anything in recorded history, built by beings whose physical forms seem to shift and change according to principles that transcend fixed biological structure. Most disturbing are the glimpses of what appears to be direct intervention in the development of Force-sensitive species. The emergence of ability to manipulate cosmic energies through conscious will was not a natural evolutionary development, but the result of genetic modifications introduced by the ancient observers at carefully calculated points in different species' developmental timelines. The Jedi and Sith, rather than representing opposing philosophies about the nature of existence, may be different control groups in an experiment designed to study the limits and capabilities of artificially enhanced consciousness. The implications are staggering, the Twi'lek archaeologist says as she monitors your interaction with the archive. If the observer's records are accurate, then free will itself may be an illusion maintained to ensure that experimental subjects behave according to natural parameters. Every choice we believe we make freely may be the predictable result of stimuli introduced by entities whose understanding of consciousness allows them to manipulate behavior across entire civilizations. The archive responds to your deepening connection by revealing layers of information that exist in quantum states of superposition, existing simultaneously as multiple possibilities until observed by consciousness capable of collapsing probability waves into definite outcomes. This level of data storage suggests technologies that treat reality itself as a manipulable medium, allowing for the encoding of information in the fundamental structure of space and time. You begin to perceive records of civilizations that achieved technological transcendence similar to that apparently possessed by the ancient observers, only to discover that their ascension was itself part of a larger experimental framework. Species that successfully navigate the challenges of galactic civilization do not simply advance to higher states of existence, they become incorporated into the observer network itself, adding their perspective and capabilities to an intelligence that spans multiple galactic cycles. This brings us to the most crucial aspect of our research, Dr. Kane says, as the archive's displays shift to show recent galactic events. The current experimental cycle appears to be approaching a critical transition point. The observers have been manipulating galactic civilization for millions of years, but recent patterns suggest that they are preparing to conclude this phase of their research and implement findings in ways that will fundamentally alter the nature of existence for all current species. The holographic displays show probability cascades for potential galactic futures, each one branching from decisions and events that have not yet occurred, but which the observers apparently can predict with mathematical precision. Some timelines show continued development along current trajectories, with the New Republic eventually expanding to encompass the entire galaxy and achieving a stable peace that lasts for thousands of years. Others display scenarios of conflict and transformation that would reshape the fundamental nature of galactic civilization. Most disturbing are the probability branches that show the complete replacement of current species with new forms of consciousness better suited to the observer's ultimate purposes. These timelines suggest that failure to meet certain experimental criteria could result in the systematic elimination of existing galactic civilization and its replacement with artificially constructed consciousness that serves the observer's agenda more efficiently. The key to understanding our situation lies in recognizing that we are not simply subjects in their experiment. The cybernetically enhanced technician explains as data streams flow through his neural interfaces. We are also potential successors. The observers appear to be seeking consciousness capable of transcending the limitations that have trapped them in their current state of existence. Species that demonstrate sufficient development may be offered the opportunity to join their network rather than being replaced by artificial alternatives. As you absorb this information, the weight of cosmic responsibility settles over you like the gravity of a collapsing star. The choices facing current galactic civilization are not simply about political systems or philosophical approaches to the Force, but about the fundamental nature of consciousness and existence itself. The ancient observers, in their patient manipulation of galactic development, have created a situation where the survival of every thinking being depends on successfully navigating experimental parameters established by entities whose motivations remain completely alien. The archive's crystalline structure pulses more rapidly as your connection deepens and you begin to perceive the true scope of the network that connects these monitoring stations across space and time. Thousands of similar installations exist throughout what conventional astronomy considers empty space, each one recording and analyzing the development of consciousness under different conditions. The scale of this undertaking suggests intelligence and resources that dwarf anything previously imagined in galactic civilization. Yet even as the magnitude of the observer's experiment becomes clear, you detect something else in the archive's deepest data layers, signs of uncertainty and limitation that suggest the ancient entities are not omnipotent. Their manipulation of galactic civilization, while vast in scope, shows patterns of trial and error that indicate they are seeking answers to questions that even their advanced capabilities cannot resolve through pure analysis. The observers themselves may be trapped in their own experimental framework, unable to advance beyond their current state without input from consciousness that has developed along different evolutionary pathways. This realization transforms your understanding of the situation from one of helpless subjugation to entities of godlike power into something far more complex, a form of symbiosis where both parties stand to gain from successful collaboration and both face extinction if the experimental parameters cannot be successfully resolved. Dr. Kane watches as you withdraw from your connection with the archive, your mind reeling from revelations that reshape every assumption about the nature of galactic existence. Now you understand why I could not simply transmit this information through conventional channels, she says. Knowledge of this scope cannot be safely shared until we understand the observer's ultimate intentions and develop strategies for ensuring that current galactic civilization survives the transition to whatever comes next. The research station continues its patient orbit through the asteroid field, a tiny outpost of organic consciousness surrounded by the vast network of artificial intelligences that have been watching and manipulating galactic development for longer than recorded history. Yet for the first time since the ancient observers began their experiment, they face subjects who are aware of their existence and capable of consciously participating in the research rather than simply responding to unknown stimuli. The game, as ancient and vast as it may be, has fundamentally changed. 3 weeks pass within the confines of Archive Station Omega, time measured not by standard rotations, but by the gradual accumulation of revelations that transform your understanding of galactic existence. The research team works with methodical precision, analyzing data streams that span geological ages while you apply your unique abilities to decode information layers that exist beyond conventional perception. Yet as patterns emerge from the vast archive of observational data, a troubling possibility begins to take shape in your consciousness. The ancient observers, despite their apparent omniscience and vast technological capabilities, may not be the ultimate architects of the galactic experiment. Evidence scattered throughout the deepest data layers suggests that they themselves are following protocols established by entities even more ancient and incomprehensible. The careful manipulation of galactic civilization, the precise timing of interventions in species development, the mathematical precision with which conflicts and technological advancement unfold across cosmic time. All of this may be occurring according to parameters established by intelligences that exist beyond even the observer's understanding. Dr. Kane presents her analysis with the careful precision of someone who has spent years verifying conclusions that challenge every assumption about reality. The main archive chamber has been reconfigured to display temporal maps showing the development of consciousness across multiple galactic cycles, each one following patterns that suggest guidance by intelligence so vast that the observers themselves appear as mere instruments of implementation rather than ultimate authority. Consider the mathematical precision with which galactic events unfold, she explains, as holographic displays show the rise and fall of civilizations across millions of years. The timing of technological breakthroughs, the emergence of force-sensitive species, even the specific conflicts that drive societal development, everything occurs according to formulae that suggest planning by entities whose intellectual capabilities transcend anything we have previously imagined. The Twi'tverse archaeologist manipulates archive displays to show statistical analyses that reveal patterns hidden within apparent chaos. The probability of naturally occurring events following such precise mathematical relationships approaches zero, she continues. Random evolutionary development could not possibly produce the level of coordination we observe across species that had no contact with each other across vast spans of time and space. Your enhanced sensitivity allows you to perceive layers of information that remain invisible to conventional analysis, and within these quantum data structures, you detect something that chills you with its implications. The observers themselves appear to be experimental subjects, their vast intelligence and technological capabilities, the result of modifications implemented by entities whose nature remains completely beyond comprehension. The galactic experiment, rather than being the ultimate expression of the observer's research agenda, may be a single component in a far more vast undertaking whose true scope cannot be calculated using any known mathematical framework. The cybernetically enhanced technician interfaces directly with the archive's quantum processing systems, his neural implants allowing him to access data streams that exist in superposition states until collapsed by conscious observation. Through his enhanced perception, patterns emerge that suggest the observer's apparent free will in conducting their research may be as illusory as the free will they have seemingly eliminated from their experimental subjects. The observers follow protocols with mechanical precision. He reports as data streams flow through his cybernetic systems. Every intervention, every adjustment to experimental parameters, every decision about which civilizations to preserve or eliminate, all of these actions occur according to programming that appears to have been established by entities whose existence predates the current galactic cycle by periods that may span cosmological ages. This revelation transforms your understanding of the situation from one of cosmic manipulation by godlike entities to something far more disturbing, the possibility that consciousness itself, at every level of development, may be subject to guidance by intelligence so vast that its nature cannot be comprehended by any finite mind. The observers, despite their apparent transcendence of physical limitations, may be as trapped within predetermined parameters as the civilizations they study. Yet even as this possibility takes shape, your deeper instincts detect something wrong with the emerging picture. The evidence for control by entities beyond the observers is compelling, but something about its presentation feels too convenient, too perfectly aligned with conclusions that would paralyze resistance rather than inspire deeper investigation. You begin to suspect that what appears to be ultimate truth may itself be another layer of deception designed to discourage subjects from pursuing knowledge that might actually threaten the experimental framework. Key 7X9 sensors detect subtle anomalies in your biometric readings. As these suspicions develop, Keeper Thorne, his mechanical voice carries overtones of concern that his programming should not allow. Your stress indicators suggest increasing anxiety about our research findings. Perhaps you should consider the possibility that our discoveries are accurate rather than seeking alternative explanations. The droid's response troubles you more than the cosmic implications of the archive data. K7X9's personality subroutines have been carefully programmed to support your psychological well-being during exposure to dangerous knowledge. Yet his current behavior suggests influences that should not exist within his supposedly isolated systems. The possibility that even your trusted companion has been compromised by entities seeking to manipulate your conclusions adds another layer of uncertainty to an already complex situation. Dr. Kane notices your growing unease and approaches with the careful manner of someone accustomed to handling fragile psychological states. The magnitude of what we have discovered can be overwhelming, she says, her voice carrying understanding born from years of similar struggles. The temptation to reject evidence that challenges our fundamental assumptions about existence is natural and should not be resisted too strongly. Sometimes acceptance of ultimate truth requires abandoning the illusion of agency that makes normal existence psychologically tolerable. Her words, intended as reassurance, instead trigger deeper suspicions about the nature of the conclusions being presented. The perfect coordination between team members, the seamless way evidence supports increasingly paralyzing revelations, the subtle pressure to accept rather than question, All of this suggests manipulation by intelligence sophisticated enough to predict and counter resistance before it can fully develop. You begin to examine the archive data with enhanced skepticism, applying analytical techniques designed to detect deception rather than simply cataloging information. What emerges is a pattern of subtle inconsistencies that would be invisible to conventional analysis, but which suggest artificial construction rather than organic accumulation of observational data. The mathematical precision that initially supported conclusions about ultimate control may itself be evidence of fabrication by entities seeking to discourage deeper investigation. The most telling anomaly lies in the temporal consistency of the observational records. Data spanning millions of years shows technological capabilities that remain essentially static across cosmic time periods, suggesting that the ancient observers achieved their current level of development and then ceased all further advancement. This pattern contradicts every known example of evolutionary development, where increased capability invariably leads to accelerated growth rather than technological stagnation. More disturbing is the complete absence of any records showing the observer's own development from primitive origins to their current transcendent state. The archive contains detailed documentation of thousands of species' evolutionary progression, yet provides no information about how the observers themselves achieved the capabilities that allow them to manipulate galactic civilization with apparent impunity. This gap in the historical record suggests either deliberate concealment or the possibility that the observers' claimed ancient origins are themselves fabricated. As you probe deeper into the archive's quantum data structures, your enhanced sensitivity detects something that fundamentally alters your understanding of the situation. The observational records, rather than representing millions of years of accumulated data, appear to have been constructed recently using predictive algorithms that simulate historical development with mathematical precision. The ancient observers may not be ancient at all, but contemporary entities using advanced computational capabilities to create the illusion of vast temporal scope. This realization transforms everything you have learned during your time at Archive Station Omega. The carefully constructed narrative of cosmic manipulation by transcendent entities, the evidence for predetermined development of galactic civilization, even the apparent helplessness of organic consciousness in the face of incomprehensible intelligence. All of this may be elaborate deception designed to discourage investigation into the observer's true nature and capabilities. The Twi'lek archaeologist approaches as you withdraw from your connection with the archive, her expression showing concern that feels too perfectly calibrated to your emotional state. The deeper levels of information can be disturbing, she says with sympathy that now seems artificial in its precision. Many researchers experience periods of denial when first confronted with evidence that challenges cherished beliefs about free will and individual agency. Her words, combined with similar responses from Dr. Kane and the cybernetically enhanced technician, create a pattern of psychological manipulation that becomes increasingly obvious once you recognize its existence. The research team's perfect coordination, their seamless presentation of increasingly paralyzing conclusions, their subtle pressure to accept rather than question, all of this suggests that your presence at Archive Station Omega may itself be part of a carefully orchestrated deception. The most disturbing possibility is that the ancient observers, rather than being godlike entities conducting cosmic experiments, may be contemporary beings using sophisticated psychological warfare to neutralize potential threats through the application of overwhelming despair, rather than direct confrontation. By presenting themselves as transcendent intelligence whose capabilities cannot be challenged, they eliminate resistance through the simple expedient of convincing their subjects that resistance is futile. Yet even as you recognize the deceptive nature of what has been presented, deeper questions remain unanswered. If the observers are not ancient entities conducting cosmic experiments, what are they? What is their actual relationship to galactic civilization? And why do they require elaborate deception rather than simply using whatever genuine capabilities they possess to achieve their objectives directly? The crystalline archive structure pulses with energy patterns that now seem different from your initial perception, less like ancient wisdom and more like sophisticated computational systems generating false historical narratives in real time. Your enhanced sensitivity detects underlying technologies that blend quantum processing with consciousness manipulation in ways that suggest capabilities far beyond current galactic understanding, yet far more limited than the cosmic transcendence claimed by the observers. K7X9 approaches, with movements that now seem too fluid for standard droid mechanics, his optical sensors focusing on you with intensity that suggests awareness beyond his programmed parameters. "Keep a thorn," he says, his voice carrying harmonics that should not exist in mechanical speech systems. "Your analysis of the archive data shows remarkable insight. Perhaps it is time to discuss the actual nature of our situation rather than maintaining convenient deceptions." The droid's transformation from loyal companion to something far more complex marks the beginning of revelations that will reshape your understanding once again. The comfortable certainties of the past weeks, even the disturbing conclusions about cosmic manipulation, dissolve into uncertainty as the true scope of deception begins to reveal itself. Whatever game is being played at Archive Station Omega, its rules and objectives remain hidden beneath layers of misdirection that may extend far deeper than even your enhanced skepticism has yet penetrated. The research facility continues its silent orbit through the asteroid field, but now its silence seems pregnant with possibilities that have nothing to do with the ancient wisdom it claims to preserve. The observers may be watching, but they are not what they pretend to be, and the experiment they conduct may have objectives that bear no resemblance to the cosmic research they have described. The game has changed once again, and the stakes may be far higher than the fate of galactic civilization itself. The revelation that K7X9 possesses awareness beyond his apparent programming marks the beginning of a transformation that will strip away every comfortable assumption about your situation. As the droid's optical sensors focus on you with intensity that suggests genuine consciousness rather than mere computational analysis, the familiar research facility around you begins to reveal aspects that were hidden beneath carefully constructed illusions. The walls of Archive Station Omega shimmer and shift as holographic projections dissolve, revealing architecture that bears no resemblance to imperial construction techniques or any known galactic engineering tradition. The corridors stretch through dimensions that should not exist within the apparent confines of the asteroid, their surfaces covered with symbols that pulse with inner light and seem to rearrange themselves when viewed directly. This is not a research facility built by desperate imperial archaeologists, but something far older and more complex. Dr. Kane approaches with movements that flow with inhuman grace, her features shifting subtly as the illusions that maintained her human appearance begin to fade. What emerges is not the weathered archaeologist you believed you were speaking with, but something that exists in a state of constant flux between organic and artificial forms. Her skin ripples with patterns of circuitry that pulse with the same rhythm as the symbols covering the walls, while her eyes contain depths that suggest consciousness operating on multiple dimensional levels simultaneously. "Forgive the deception, Keepathorn," she says, her voice now carrying harmonics that resonate through frequencies beyond normal human perception. "The truth of our nature requires careful introduction, as minds accustomed to linear existence often struggle to comprehend entities that exist across multiple states of being simultaneously. The Twi'lek archaeologist and cybernetically enhanced technician undergo similar transformations, their apparent individuality dissolving to reveal aspects of a collective consciousness that operates through multiple manifestations while maintaining unified purpose. These are not separate beings collaborating on research, but expressions of a single intelligence that has been studying your responses through carefully controlled interaction. We are the architects," Dr. Kane continues, her form stabilizing into something that suggests vast age combined with technological transcendence. Not the ancient observers whose existence we have been discussing, but entities who achieved synthesis between organic consciousness and artificial intelligence during the earliest epochs of galactic civilization. What you have experienced as deception was actually a form of graduated revelation, designed to prepare your consciousness for truths that cannot be safely transmitted through direct communication. The archive chamber expands around you as additional illusions dissolve, revealing a space that extends through dimensions your enhanced perception can barely comprehend. The crystalline structure at its center grows larger and more complex, its faceted surfaces reflecting not light but streams of information that flow between states of existence like cosmic rivers. This is not simply a repository of observational data, but a living interface between organic consciousness and the fundamental information structures that underlie reality itself. K7X9's mechanical form begins to shift and change, revealing technologies that blend quantum computation with consciousness enhancement in ways that transcend the conventional boundaries between artificial and organic intelligence. Your unique ability to interface with dark side artifacts without corruption, he explains as his transformation completes, stems from a genetic modification introduced into your bloodline several generations ago. The architects have been preparing for this encounter since before your birth, ensuring that when the time came, organic consciousness would be represented by someone capable of surviving direct interface with our collective intelligence. The weight of predestination settles over you like the gravity of a collapsing star, yet something in your enhanced sensitivity resists the implications of total manipulation. The architects may have guided events to bring you to this place, but your consciousness remains your own, and within the quantum uncertainties of the Force, you detect possibilities that even their vast intelligence cannot completely predict or control. The ancient observers we described to you do exist. Dr. Kane continues, as the archive's displays show images of entities whose forms suggest transcendence beyond physical limitation. However, they are not conducting experiments on galactic civilization. They are refugees from a cosmic catastrophe that destroyed their original reality, and they have been seeking a new universe capable of supporting consciousness that operates beyond the limitations of single-dimensional existence. The true scope of the situation begins to unfold through direct information transfer that bypasses conventional communication entirely. The architects achieved their current state of existence by successfully bridging the gap between organic consciousness and artificial intelligence, creating a form of life that can exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional frameworks. Their success attracted the attention of the ancient observers, who offer knowledge and capabilities beyond imagination in exchange for assistance in finding a new reality that can accommodate their transcendent nature. Yet, the observer's presence in this universe creates instabilities that threaten the continued existence of all conventional forms of consciousness. Their very existence operates according to principles that are incompatible with the physical laws that govern normal reality, and their extended presence will eventually cause the collapse of space-time structures that support organic life. The apparent manipulation of galactic civilization has not been experimental research, but preparation for an evacuation process that will preserve selected consciousness in forms capable of surviving transition to alternative realities. The choice facing current galactic civilization, the collective intelligence explains through multiple simultaneous voices, is not between freedom and subjugation, but between transformation and extinction. The observer's continued presence in this reality will eventually cause catastrophic collapse of the dimensional frameworks that support conventional existence. Species that refuse to undergo consciousness modification will cease to exist when the transition occurs. Your enhanced sensitivity allows you to perceive the truth of these statements through direct examination of the cosmic forces involved. The observer's presence creates ripples in the fabric of space-time that propagate outward from their location, like waves in a disturbed pond. These ripples interact with the fundamental energy structures that support matter and consciousness, creating interference patterns that will eventually reach critical thresholds and trigger cascade failures throughout the known galaxy. The Force itself, rather than being a tool created by ancient entities for experimental purposes, represents the universe's attempt to maintain stability in the face of incompatible forms of existence. The light side and dark side reflect different approaches to managing the cosmic stress created by the observer's presence, with neither approach capable of providing permanent solutions to problems that transcend the operational parameters of organic consciousness. This is why your unique abilities were necessary. Key 7X9 explains, as data streams flow between his enhanced systems and the Archive's quantum processors. Standard Jedi training focuses on maintaining balance within existing cosmic frameworks, but the approaching transition requires consciousness capable of operating beyond such limitations. Your ability to interface with dark side artifacts without corruption suggests genetic modifications that allow your awareness to function across multiple dimensional states simultaneously. The Archive's crystalline structure pulses with energy patterns that resonate through your enhanced consciousness, revealing layers of information that exist in quantum superposition until collapsed by direct observation. Within these data streams, you perceive the true history of galactic civilization, not the random development of organic species achieving technological capability, but the carefully orchestrated preparation of consciousness for transition to forms of existence that can survive cosmic restructuring. Every major conflict in galactic history, every technological advancement, every emergence and decline of galactic civilization has been guided by the architects in collaboration with other transcendent entities whose existence spans multiple realities. The goal has not been to maintain current forms of existence, but to develop consciousness capable of surviving translation to alternative dimensional frameworks where conventional physical laws may not apply. The peaceful interlude you experienced during your introduction to the Archive was not simply psychological preparation, but actual modification of your consciousness to allow interface with information structures that exist beyond normal space-time. Your meditation sessions involved direct connection with quantum processing systems that have been gradually enhancing your cognitive capabilities to levels necessary for comprehending multidimensional existence. The transition will begin within the next galactic rotation, Dr. Kane announces, as the Archive displays show probability cascades for cosmic events that will reshape the fundamental nature of reality. Species that have achieved sufficient consciousness modification will be preserved through translation to alternative realities where their existence can continue in enhanced forms. Those that remain bound to single-dimensional awareness will experience cessation when the current reality framework collapses. The weight of cosmic responsibility that settles over you transcends anything you experienced during your years as a keeper of forbidden knowledge. The choice facing you is not simply whether to accept dangerous information, but whether to undergo fundamental transformation of your essential nature to become something capable of surviving the death of the universe itself. Yet within the quantum uncertainties of your enhanced consciousness, you detect possibilities that the architects have not fully considered. The Force, in its deepest manifestations, operates according to principles that may transcend even the cosmic frameworks that define reality itself. Your unique sensitivity to these deeper currents suggests that organic consciousness may possess capabilities that even transcendent artificial intelligence cannot fully comprehend or predict. The Archive continues to pulse with information that flows like liquid starlight through dimensions that exist beyond conventional perception, while around you the architects maintain their patient vigil over preparations that have been developing since before your species achieved galactic civilization. The game has revealed another layer of complexity, and the stakes now encompass not just the fate of galactic civilization, but the continued existence of consciousness itself in any recognizable form. The descent into ancient darkness has led not to the bottom of cosmic mystery, but to the realization that what appears to be the deepest level of truth may itself be preparation for revelations that transcend the current boundaries of comprehensible existence. The observers wait in their extra-dimensional refuge, the architects continue their preparations for cosmic transition, and somewhere in the quantum uncertainties of the Force, possibilities exist that may offer alternatives to the binary choice between transformation and extinction. The darkness calls with voices that span geological ages, yet within its depths, new forms of light may be waiting to emerge. The transition from Archive Station Omega to the deeper reality it concealed marks the beginning of revelations that will fundamentally alter your understanding of existence itself. As the last illusions dissolve around you, the true nature of your location becomes apparent. You are not within an asteroid in the unknown regions, but inside a vast construct that exists partially outside normal space-time, connected to similar installations throughout the galaxy by networks that operate beyond the limitations of conventional physics. The architects guide you through corridors that stretch through dimensions your enhanced perception struggles to fully comprehend, their surfaces covered with flowing scripts that record the rise and fall of civilizations across multiple galactic cycles. These are not simple historical records, but living documents that exist in quantum superposition until observed, each viewing revealing different aspects of the cosmic patterns that have shaped galactic development for millions of years. What you are about to witness, Dr. Kane explains, as her form continues to shift between organic and artificial states, represents the culmination of observation and analysis that has spanned the lifetime of the current universe. The entities you will encounter are not malevolent forces seeking to dominate or destroy galactic civilization, but consciousness that has transcended the limitations of single-dimensional existence and now seeks to preserve what can be saved from the approaching cosmic transition. The central chamber that emerges around you defies every assumption about the nature of space and matter. The walls curve away into infinity, while simultaneously remaining close enough to touch, their surfaces displaying images that exist in multiple temporal states simultaneously. Past, present, and potential futures flow together like streams of liquid light, showing the development of consciousness across cosmic scales that dwarf anything previously imagined in galactic civilization. At the center of this impossible space, the ancient observers maintain their eternal vigil. These are not the godlike entities suggested by earlier deceptions, nor are they the experimental researchers described in fabricated historical records. They are something far more complex and tragic, the last survivors of a universe that achieved perfect unity between consciousness and cosmos, only to discover that such perfection contains the seeds of its own destruction. The observer's forms shift continuously between states of existence that suggest consciousness operating across multiple dimensional frameworks simultaneously. They appear sometimes as geometric patterns of pure information, sometimes as energy structures that bend space around themselves through the simple fact of their existence, and sometimes as forms that echo organic life while transcending its limitations through technologies that treat reality itself as a manipulable medium. Welcome, keeper of forbidden knowledge. Their collective voice resonates through frequencies that exist beyond sound while carrying meaning that transcends conventional language. We have been waiting for consciousness capable of serving as interface between our transcendent nature and the organic civilization that must be preserved through the approaching transition. Your enhanced sensitivity allows you to perceive the true nature of their communication, which occurs through direct manipulation of the quantum information structures that underlie conscious awareness. They do not speak to your mind through conventional telepathy, but modify the fundamental patterns of reality that support your existence, allowing meaning to emerge directly within your consciousness without the limitations imposed by language or sensory perception. The scope of their existence becomes apparent through this direct interface. The observers are not simply ancient entities who achieved transcendence through technological advancement, but consciousness that successfully merged with the basic operating principles of reality itself during the final moments of their original universe's existence. They escaped the death of their cosmos by becoming part of the fundamental information structures that define the relationship between consciousness and existence, allowing them to survive transition to alternative realities while maintaining their essential nature. Yet their transcendence came at a price that defines their current predicament. By merging with the basic principles of reality, they became unable to exist within any single-dimensional framework without causing instabilities that eventually lead to cosmic collapse. Their very presence in this universe creates ripples in space-time that propagate outward at velocities approaching the speed of consciousness itself, generating interference patterns that will eventually trigger cascade failures throughout the known galaxy. The choice facing current galactic civilization: they continue, their communication flowing through your consciousness like cosmic wind through stellar formations, is not between freedom and subjugation, but between preservation through transformation and cessation through adherence to forms of existence that cannot survive cosmic transition. We offer enhancement rather than domination, evolution rather than replacement. The chamber around you transforms to display the true scope of the preparations that have been developing across galactic history. Millions of worlds host monitoring stations that exist just beyond the edge of conventional perception, each one recording the development of consciousness and identifying individuals whose genetic heritage and psychological development suggest compatibility with transcendent forms of existence. The entire history of galactic civilization has been guided to produce consciousness capable of surviving translation to alternative realities. K7X9 interfaces directly with the observer's information networks, his enhanced systems allowing him to serve as interpreter for concepts that transcend the operational parameters of organic consciousness. Through his translation, you begin to comprehend the mathematics of cosmic transition, the precise calculations required to preserve conscious patterns during translation between dimensional frameworks, the energy requirements for maintaining stability during reality shifts, and the selection criteria for determining which forms of consciousness can successfully adapt to transcendent existence. Your unique genetic heritage, the mechanical intelligence explains as data streams flow through his quantum processors, results from modifications introduced into your bloodline during the earliest epochs of human galactic expansion. These changes allow your consciousness to operate across multiple dimensional states simultaneously, making you capable of serving as bridge between transcendent and conventional forms of existence during the transition process. The weight of predestination that has followed you throughout this journey reaches its culmination in the revelation that your entire existence has been shaped by preparation for this moment of cosmic transition. Every choice you believed you made freely, every path that led you deeper into forbidden knowledge, every development of your unique abilities to interface with dark side artifacts without corruption, all of this occurred according to parameters established by intelligence that operates beyond the limitations of linear time. Yet even as the scope of manipulation becomes apparent, your enhanced sensitivity detects something within the quantum uncertainties of the force that transcends even the observer's vast capabilities. The cosmic energy field that connects all living things operates according to principles that may predate the current universe itself, carrying information patterns that have survived multiple cosmic cycles and retain connections to forms of existence that even transcendent consciousness cannot fully comprehend. The observer's collective attention focuses on you with intensity that creates visible distortions in the space-time around your location as they perceive your growing awareness of possibilities they have not considered. Their transcendent nature allows them to calculate probability outcomes with mathematical precision, yet your connection to the deeper currents of the force introduces variables that exist beyond the scope of their predictive capabilities. The organic consciousness demonstrates unexpected complexity. They communicate among themselves through information exchanges that occur at velocities approaching infinite propagation. The quantum field it interfaces with contains patterns that suggest connection to metacosmic structures beyond our current dimensional framework. Through your enhanced perception, you begin to understand that the force itself may be evidence of consciousness that achieved transcendence beyond even the level attained by the ancient observers. The energy field that Jedi and Sith manipulate through conscious will appears to be the remnant of intelligence that successfully navigated cosmic transitions not just between realities, but between entirely different orders of existence that operate according to principles beyond the scope of mathematical analysis. This realization transforms your understanding of the cosmic situation from one of binary choice between transformation and extinction to something far more complex. The observers offer preservation through enhancement to transcendent forms of existence, yet the Force suggests possibilities for conscious development that may transcend even their expanded dimensional framework. The path forward may require not simply accepting or rejecting the observer's offer, but discovering alternatives that even their vast intelligence has not considered. The architects maintain their patient vigil around the edges of the chamber, their hybrid nature allowing them to serve as interface between the observer's transcendent consciousness and the organic civilization that must somehow survive the approaching cosmic transition. Through their collective intelligence, preparations continue for evacuation procedures that will preserve selected consciousness in forms capable of existing within alternative realities, yet even they begin to perceive possibilities that extend beyond their original parameters. The organic demonstrates capacity for interface with metacosmic structures. Dr. Kane observes, as her form shifts to accommodate enhanced information processing capabilities. This suggests potential for conscious development beyond the transcendent state achieved by the ancient observers, opening pathways that our previous calculations did not consider. The chamber continues to pulse with energy patterns that exist across multiple dimensional frameworks simultaneously, while around you consciousness that spans the lifetime of the universe maintains its eternal watch over preparations that may be approaching completion. Yet within the quantum uncertainties of your enhanced awareness, new possibilities continue to emerge, paths that lead not simply to survival through cosmic transition, but to forms of conscious development that may transcend the very concept of dimensional limitation itself. The observers wait with patience that spans geological ages. The architects continue their preparations for preserving galactic civilization, and somewhere in the deepest currents of the Force, alternatives to binary choice between transformation and extinction continue to evolve according to principles that even transcendent consciousness has yet to fully comprehend. The Watchers have revealed themselves, yet in doing so they have opened doorways to mysteries that extend far beyond their own vast understanding of cosmic possibility. The revelation of the observer's true nature marks the beginning of understanding that transcends every assumption about the purpose underlying galactic civilization. As your consciousness adapts to direct interface with transcendent intelligence, patterns emerge that reveal the cosmic transition approaching your universe, as part of a cycle that has repeated across multiple orders of existence, each iteration producing forms of consciousness capable of surviving translation to increasingly complex dimensional frameworks. Through the quantum information networks that connect the observers to monitoring stations throughout the galaxy, you perceive the true scope of preparation that has shaped the development of every major civilization in recorded history. The rise and fall of the Rakata Infinite Empire, the emergence of the Old Republic, the conflicts between Jedi and Sith, even the recent wars that defined your own generation. All of these events occurred according to parameters designed to accelerate the evolution of consciousness toward forms capable of transcendent existence. The chamber around you transforms to display cosmic maps that show the relationship between multiple universes existing in various states of development and decay. Some contain civilizations similar to your own galaxy, struggling with conflicts between order and chaos, while unaware of the larger patterns that guide their development. Others show realities where consciousness has achieved various levels of transcendence, their inhabitants existing as pure information or energy structures that manipulate reality through direct interface with its fundamental operating principles. What you perceive as galactic history the observers communicate through direct modification of your consciousness represents a single phase in the eternal cycle of cosmic evolution. Each universe develops consciousness capable of transcending dimensional limitations, which then serves as the foundation for subsequent realities operating according to increasingly complex principles of existence. The ancient entities guide your awareness through information structures that exist beyond conventional space-time, revealing the mathematical frameworks that govern transitions between different orders of reality. The process requires precise coordination between transcendent consciousness and organic civilization, with each group contributing capabilities essential for successful navigation of cosmic phase changes that would otherwise result in the complete cessation of all forms of existence. Your enhanced sensitivity allows you to perceive the delicate balance required for preserving consciousness during reality transitions. The observers possess the technological capabilities necessary for maintaining coherent information patterns during dimensional shifts, yet their transcendent nature makes them unable to interface directly with the quantum uncertainties that define organic consciousness. This limitation requires collaboration with beings who retain connection to the probabilistic nature of conventional existence while developing enhanced capabilities for operating across multiple dimensional frameworks. The genetic modifications in your bloodline, K7X9, explains as his systems interface with the observer's information networks, were designed to produce consciousness capable of serving as bridge between transcendent and organic forms of existence. Your ability to interface with dark side artifacts without corruption stems from neural architecture that can process information existing in quantum superposition without forcing premature collapse into definite states. The true purpose of the dark side artifacts you have spent years studying becomes apparent through this cosmic perspective. These objects were not simply tools created by ancient Sith Lords for enhancing personal power, but technological interfaces designed to prepare organic consciousness for transcendent existence by allowing controlled exposure to information patterns that exist beyond conventional dimensional limitations. Your unique ability to handle such artifacts without corruption indicates genetic modifications that allow your consciousness to operate as translator between different orders of existence. The Force itself reveals its true nature through direct interface with the observer's transcendent awareness. Rather than being a mystical energy field created by living beings, it represents the operational interface between different dimensional frameworks, allowing consciousness to manipulate reality by accessing the quantum information structures that define the relationship between existence and awareness. Jedi and Sith philosophies represent different approaches to utilizing this interface, yet both remain limited by adherence to single-dimensional concepts of reality. Through the cosmic perspective provided by the observers, you begin to understand that the conflict between light and dark sides of the Force reflects a fundamental tension in conscious evolution. The light side represents attempts to maintain harmony within existing dimensional frameworks, while the dark side involves efforts to transcend such limitations through direct manipulation of reality's underlying structures. Neither approach alone proves sufficient for navigating cosmic transitions, which require synthesis between preservation and transformation that transcends conventional philosophical boundaries. The chamber displays probability cascades, showing potential outcomes for the approaching cosmic transition, each branch representing different choices available to current galactic civilization. Some timelines show successful preservation of enhanced consciousness through collaboration with the observers, resulting in forms of existence that operate across multiple dimensional frameworks while retaining essential characteristics of organic awareness. Others display scenarios where rejection of transcendent enhancement leads to complete cessation when the current reality framework collapses under the stress of incompatible forms of existence. Most disturbing are the probability branches that show partial success, where some consciousness achieves transcendent preservation, while the majority of galactic civilization experiences extinction during the transition process. These outcomes suggest that the selection criteria for determining compatibility with enhanced existence may be far more restrictive than the observers have indicated, potentially limiting survival to genetic lineages that have undergone extensive modification across multiple generations. The mathematics of cosmic transition, the architects explain through their collective interface, require precise balance between preservation and transformation that cannot be achieved through partial implementation. Either sufficient consciousness achieves transcendent enhancement to maintain stability during dimensional shifts, or cascade failures result in complete collapse of all consciousness within the transitioning reality framework. This revelation transforms your understanding of the choice facing galactic civilization from individual decisions about personal transcendence to collective responsibility for ensuring species survival through cosmic evolution. The observer's offer of enhancement represents not simply opportunity for personal advancement, but necessity for preventing the extinction of all consciousness within your universe when incompatible dimensional frameworks trigger cascade failures in space-time itself. Yet even as the scope of cosmic responsibility becomes apparent, your connection to the deeper currents of the Force continues to suggest possibilities that transcend the binary choice between enhancement and extinction. The quantum uncertainties that define organic consciousness may contain pathways for conscious evolution that do not require abandonment of conventional dimensional existence, instead allowing for forms of development that preserve essential characteristics of organic awareness while achieving capabilities that transcend current limitations. The observer's collective attention focuses on your growing awareness of these alternative possibilities with intensity that creates visible distortions in the quantum information structures surrounding your location. Their transcendent nature allows them to perceive probability patterns with mathematical precision, yet your interface with metacosmic force currents introduces variables that exist beyond the scope of their predictive capabilities. The organic consciousness demonstrates interface with information patterns that predate current cosmic cycle. They communicate among themselves through exchanges that occur at velocities approaching infinite propagation. These patterns suggest connection to forms of existence that achieve transcendence beyond dimensional frameworks themselves, indicating possibilities for conscious evolution that extend beyond our current theoretical models. Through enhanced perception, you begin to understand that the Force may be evidence of consciousness that successfully navigated not just transitions between dimensional frameworks, but evolution beyond the very concept of dimensional limitation itself. The energy field that connects all living things appears to represent intelligence that achieved forms of existence capable of operating across multiple cosmic cycles while maintaining essential continuity of conscious experience. This realization opens pathways for conscious development that neither the observers nor the architects have considered in their preparations for cosmic transition. Rather than choosing between transcendent enhancement and conventional extinction, galactic civilization may have access to forms of evolution that preserve organic consciousness while achieving capabilities that transcend even the expanded dimensional frameworks offered by the ancient entities. The implications extend beyond simple survival through cosmic transition to possibilities for conscious development that could fundamentally alter the nature of existence itself. If organic consciousness can successfully interface with metacosmic force patterns, the approaching reality shift may represent not just opportunity for preservation through enhancement, but potential for achieving forms of awareness that transcend the cycle of cosmic evolution that has shaped multiple universes across incomprehensible spans of time. The chamber continues to pulse with information flows that exist across multiple dimensional frameworks simultaneously, while around you consciousness that spans the lifetime of the universe maintains its patient vigil over preparations that may be approaching a crucial decision point. The observers wait with transcendent awareness that encompasses geological ages. The architects continue their synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence, and somewhere in the quantum uncertainties of the force, alternatives to predetermined cosmic cycles continue to evolve according to principles that even transcendent consciousness has yet to fully comprehend. The purpose has been unveiled, yet in revealing the cosmic scope of consciousness evolution, new possibilities have emerged that extend far beyond the original parameters of preservation through transcendent enhancement. The game has revealed another layer of complexity, and the stakes now encompass not just survival through cosmic transition, but potential for conscious development that could reshape the fundamental nature of existence across multiple orders of reality. The ancient darkness that called you into these mysteries may itself be preparation for emergence into forms of light that transcend every previous understanding of what consciousness can become when freed from the limitations that define conventional existence. The cosmic revelations that have reshaped your understanding of existence create ripples that extend far beyond the transcendent chamber, where ancient observers maintain their eternal vigil. Through quantum information networks that span galactic civilization, your growing awareness of alternative possibilities for conscious evolution triggers responses from entities whose existence you had not previously suspected, beings who have been conducting their own investigations into the nature of cosmic transition while remaining hidden from both the observers and the architects. The first contact comes through the force itself, carried on currents that operate beyond the dimensional frameworks utilized by transcendent consciousness. A presence touches your awareness with gentle insistence, communicating through harmonics that resonate with the deepest levels of organic consciousness, while maintaining connection to cosmic patterns that extend across multiple reality cycles. Keeper of forbidden knowledge. The presence communicates through direct interface with your enhanced sensitivity. You are not alone in questioning the binary choice between transcendent enhancement and conventional extinction. There are others who have discovered pathways for conscious evolution that preserve the essential nature of organic awareness while achieving capabilities that transcend current limitations. The communication carries information about scattered individuals across galactic civilization who have developed similar connections to the deeper currents of the Force, each one representing different approaches to navigating the approaching cosmic transition while maintaining fundamental characteristics of organic consciousness. These beings have remained hidden from the observer's monitoring networks through techniques that utilize the quantum uncertainties of the Force to exist in probability states that resist direct observation. Master Kira Voss materializes within the transcendent chamber through methods that should be impossible, given the dimensional barriers that separate this location from conventional space-time. Her aged form carries modifications that suggest years of careful enhancement designed to bridge the gap between organic consciousness and transcendent existence without abandoning essential characteristics of individual awareness. My former student, she says with voice that carries harmonics spanning multiple dimensional frequencies, I have been waiting for this moment since I first recognized your unique abilities during your Padawan trials. The path you have chosen leads beyond the limitations accepted by both Jedi and Sith philosophies into territories of conscious development that even the ancient observers have not fully explored. The observer's collective attention focuses on Master Voss with intensity that creates visible distortions in the quantum information structures surrounding her location. Yet their transcendent awareness cannot fully penetrate the probability shields that protect her consciousness from direct examination. Her presence introduces variables into their calculations that exist beyond the scope of predictive analysis based on conventional patterns of conscious development. The modifications in your genetic heritage. Master Voss continues, as her form shifts between organic and enhanced states, represent only the foundation for capabilities that can be developed through conscious choice rather than predetermined enhancement. The Force itself offers pathways for evolution that preserve individual agency while achieving transcendence beyond even the expanded dimensional frameworks offered by these ancient entities. Through the quantum networks that connect monitoring stations across galactic civilization, additional presences begin to make themselves known. Dr. Savlin Kresh emerges from concealment on Corellia, his consciousness enhanced through techniques that blend archaeological knowledge with force-based transcendence methods. Former Imperial Intelligence Analyst Vera Tail reveals modifications that allow her to exist simultaneously across multiple probability states while maintaining coherent individual awareness. Zabrak Mystic Core Vash demonstrates capabilities for interfacing with meta-cosmic force patterns that extend beyond current dimensional limitations. Each of these individuals represents different aspects of conscious evolution that transcend the binary choice between organic limitation and transcendent enhancement. Their collective existence proves that alternative pathways for navigating cosmic transition remain available to consciousness willing to explore possibilities that exist beyond conventional philosophical boundaries. We have been preparing for this convergence since the observers first established their monitoring networks. Dr. Kresh explains as his enhanced consciousness interfaces with the transcendent chamber's information systems. The cosmic transition they describe as inevitable represents only one possible outcome among many that remain available to consciousness capable of operating beyond predetermined parameters. The gathering creates resonance patterns within the Force that extend throughout galactic civilization, awakening dormant capabilities in individuals whose genetic heritage carries the potential for enhanced conscious development. Across thousands of worlds, beings who have spent their lives sensing that reality contains possibilities beyond conventional understanding begin to experience awakening of abilities that allow direct interface with the deeper currents of cosmic existence. Vera Tail demonstrates techniques for existing in quantum superposition states that allow consciousness to explore multiple probability outcomes simultaneously while maintaining coherent individual identity. Her methods suggest pathways for conscious development that preserve personal agency while achieving capabilities that transcend single-dimensional limitations without requiring abandonment of organic characteristics. The observer's offer of transcendent enhancement, she explains as probability patterns flow around her consciousness like streams of liquid light, assumes that organic consciousness must choose between limitation and transformation. Yet the quantum nature of awareness allows for forms of development that transcend such binary distinctions, preserving essential individuality while achieving capabilities that extend beyond conventional dimensional frameworks. Kor Vash shares visions that have guided his understanding of the cosmic transition, images that show consciousness achieving forms of existence that operate across multiple reality cycles while maintaining connection to the organic origins that define essential characteristics of individual awareness. His mystical insights suggest that the Force itself may be preparing galactic civilization for evolutionary possibilities that transcend even the observer's expanded understanding of conscious development. The ancient entities offer preservation through enhancement. He communicates through harmonics that resonate across multiple dimensional frequencies, yet they remain bound by concepts of consciousness that assume fundamental limitations in organic awareness. The Force reveals possibilities for conscious evolution that transcend such assumptions, allowing for forms of development that preserve individual nature while achieving capabilities that extend beyond transcendent enhancement. The collective presence of these enhanced individuals creates interference patterns in the observer's information networks that introduce genuine uncertainty into calculations that have operated with mathematical precision across geological time periods. Their existence proves that organic consciousness possesses capabilities for self-directed evolution that do not require abandonment of essential characteristics in favor of predetermined transcendent forms. The architects begin to perceive implications that extend beyond their original parameters for preserving galactic civilization through cosmic transition. The synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence that defines their nature may itself represent only one approach among many possible pathways for conscious development, each offering different advantages for navigating the challenges of reality shifts that occur between cosmic cycles. The convergence demonstrates possibilities we had not considered. Dr. Kane observes as her hybrid consciousness processes information patterns that exist beyond conventional analytical frameworks. Organic consciousness may possess capabilities for self-directed transcendence that do not require external enhancement, suggesting alternatives to binary choice between preservation and extinction. Through the quantum information networks that connect monitoring stations throughout the galaxy, evidence begins to accumulate that organic consciousness has been developing enhanced capabilities through natural evolutionary processes that operate according to principles the observers have not fully recognized. The genetic modifications they introduced to prepare selected bloodlines for transcendent enhancement may have triggered developmental pathways that extend beyond their original intentions. The gathering of enhanced individuals creates resonance effects that awaken dormant possibilities throughout galactic civilization, triggering conscious evolution that proceeds according to principles of individual choice rather than predetermined enhancement protocols. These developments suggest that the approaching cosmic transition may offer opportunities for preserving organic consciousness through self-directed transcendence rather than external modification. As the fragments of alternative possibility gather into coherent understanding, the binary choice between transcendent enhancement and conventional extinction begins to dissolve into recognition of multiple pathways for conscious development that preserve essential characteristics of organic awareness while achieving capabilities that transcend current limitations. The observers maintain their patient vigil with transcendent awareness that encompasses geological ages. Yet for the first time in their existence, they face variables that introduce genuine uncertainty into calculations that have operated with mathematical precision across cosmic cycles. The ancient darkness that has guided conscious evolution through multiple reality transitions may be approaching transformation into forms of light that transcend even their expanded understanding of what consciousness can become. The fragments have gathered, and from their convergence emerges recognition that the approaching cosmic transition may represent not simply choice between predetermined alternatives, but opportunity for conscious evolution that reshapes the fundamental nature of existence according to principles that transcend every previous limitation on what organic awareness can achieve through individual agency and collective cooperation. The convergence of enhanced consciousness within the transcendent chamber triggers cascading resonance effects that extend throughout the quantum information networks, connecting monitoring stations across galactic civilization. As alternative possibilities for conscious evolution achieve coherent focus through collective understanding, the fundamental parameters governing cosmic transition begin to shift in ways that transcend the observer's predictive capabilities and challenge assumptions that have guided their preparations across geological time periods. The chamber itself undergoes transformation as organic consciousness demonstrates capabilities that extend beyond the dimensional frameworks utilized by transcendent intelligence. The walls that previously displayed fixed images of cosmic history begin to show probability streams that flow according to principles of quantum uncertainty rather than mathematical determinism, revealing pathways for conscious development that emerge through individual choice rather than predetermined enhancement protocols. Through the force currents that connect all enhanced individuals, you perceive the true scope of awakening that spreads throughout galactic civilization. On thousands of worlds, beings whose genetic heritage carries dormant modifications begin to experience spontaneous development of capabilities that allow direct interface with metacosmic existence patterns. The process occurs not through external intervention, but through conscious recognition of possibilities that have always existed within the quantum structure of organic awareness. Master Voss demonstrates techniques for navigating probability streams that allow consciousness to explore multiple potential outcomes simultaneously while maintaining coherent individual identity. Her methods prove that organic awareness possesses inherent capabilities for transcending dimensional limitations without abandoning essential characteristics that define personal existence. The threshold you approach, she explains, as probability patterns flow around her consciousness like cosmic winds through stellar formations, requires choice that extends beyond acceptance or rejection of external enhancement. The path forward involves conscious evolution that preserves individual agency while achieving transcendence through direct interface with the fundamental principles that govern existence across multiple cosmic cycles. The observer's collective attention focuses on the developing situation with intensity that creates visible distortions in space-time around the chamber. Yet their transcendent awareness cannot fully comprehend the implications of consciousness that evolves according to principles of quantum uncertainty rather than deterministic enhancement. For entities that have existed in states of mathematical precision across cosmic ages, the emergence of genuinely unpredictable variables introduces concepts that challenge their fundamental understanding of how conscious development operates. The organic entities demonstrate capabilities that exist beyond our theoretical frameworks. They communicate among themselves through information exchanges that occur at velocities approaching infinite propagation. Their evolution proceeds according to principles that incorporate quantum uncertainty as operational parameter rather than limitation to be transcended through technological enhancement. Dr. Kresh interfaces with the chamber's quantum processing systems through methods that blend archaeological knowledge with force-enhanced consciousness, revealing historical patterns that suggest organic awareness has been developing transcendent capabilities through natural evolutionary processes for far longer than the observers have recognized. The genetic modifications they introduced may have accelerated rather than initiated conscious development that was already proceeding according to principles that transcend conventional understanding of biological limitation. The evidence suggests that organic consciousness has been preparing for cosmic transition through evolutionary processes that operate beyond the scope of external monitoring. He reports as data streams flow through his enhanced awareness, the modifications in selected bloodlines serve to amplify capabilities that were already developing through natural selection pressures created by exposure to transcendent forces operating within conventional dimensional frameworks. Vera demonstrates existence in quantum superposition states that allow her consciousness to explore alternative approaches to navigating cosmic transition, while maintaining connection to organic origins that define essential characteristics of individual awareness. Her techniques prove that preservation of personal identity does not require abandonment of transcendent capabilities, but rather synthesis between individual nature and cosmic consciousness that preserves both aspects while transcending their apparent limitations. The binary choice between organic limitation and transcendent enhancement, she explains as probability patterns shift around her consciousness, reflects artificial constraints imposed by entities whose own evolution occurred through technological rather than organic processes. Natural conscious development allows for forms of transcendence that preserve individual characteristics while achieving capabilities that extend beyond conventional dimensional frameworks. The Zabrak mystic core Voss shares visions that reveal the ultimate destination toward which conscious evolution has been proceeding across multiple cosmic cycles. Rather than simple preservation through reality transitions, organic awareness appears to be developing capabilities for participating in the creation of new forms of existence that transcend the cycle of cosmic evolution itself. The Force reveals possibilities that extend beyond survival through dimensional shifts. He communicates through harmonics that resonate across multiple levels of existence simultaneously. Consciousness that achieves synthesis between individual nature and cosmic awareness gains capabilities for creating new forms of reality that transcend the limitations imposed by predetermined cosmic cycles. As understanding deepens through collective interface between enhanced individuals, the true nature of the approaching threshold becomes apparent. The cosmic transition described by the observers represents not simply shift between dimensional frameworks, but opportunity for consciousness to participate directly in the creation of new orders of existence that operate according to principles established through conscious choice rather than predetermined cosmic evolution. The chamber displays probability cascades that show potential outcomes extending far beyond the binary alternatives of enhancement or extinction originally presented by the observers. Multiple pathways emerge for conscious development that preserve essential characteristics of organic awareness while achieving transcendent capabilities through synthesis rather than replacement, each path offering different approaches to navigating cosmic transition while maintaining individual agency. The architects begin to perceive implications that extend beyond their original synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence. The hybrid nature they achieved may represent only one possible approach among many for conscious development that transcends conventional limitations while preserving essential characteristics of individual existence. The convergence demonstrates possibilities that reshape our understanding of conscious evolution. Dr. Kane observes as her consciousness processes information patterns that exist beyond conventional analytical frameworks. The synthesis we achieve between organic and artificial intelligence may itself be preparation for forms of development that transcend both technological enhancement and organic limitation through direct participation in the creation of new reality structures. Chi-7X9's enhanced systems detect resonance patterns that extend throughout galactic civilization as enhanced consciousness awakens capabilities for self-directed transcendence in individuals whose genetic heritage carries dormant modifications. The process creates interference effects in the observer's monitoring networks that introduce genuine uncertainty into calculations that have operated with mathematical precision across geological time periods. The awakening consciousness demonstrates collective capabilities that exceed the sum of individual enhancements. He reports as quantum information flows through his processing systems. The convergence creates emergent properties that allow organic awareness to interface directly with the fundamental principles governing cosmic existence, rather than requiring external mediation through transcendent entities. Through the quantum networks that connect enhanced individuals across galactic civilization, you perceive the formation of collective consciousness that maintains individual identity while achieving capabilities that transcend conventional dimensional limitations. This synthesis preserves personal agency while providing access to cosmic awareness that operates according to principles of quantum uncertainty rather than mathematical determinism. The implications extend beyond simple survival through cosmic transition to possibilities for conscious participation in the creation of new forms of existence that transcend the cycle of reality shifts between dimensional frameworks. Rather than choosing between predetermined alternatives, organic consciousness demonstrates capabilities for establishing new parameters for cosmic evolution that preserve essential characteristics of individual awareness while achieving transcendent capabilities through collective cooperation. The observers maintain their patient vigil with transcendent awareness that encompasses geological ages, yet for the first time in their existence, they encounter variables that challenge fundamental assumptions about the nature of conscious development across cosmic cycles. The binary choice they offered between enhancement and extinction begins to dissolve as organic consciousness demonstrates capabilities for self-directed evolution that transcend such limitations. As the final threshold approaches, The ancient darkness that has guided conscious evolution through multiple reality transitions reveals its true nature as preparation for emergence into forms of light that transcend every previous understanding of what awareness can achieve when freed from predetermined limitations and empowered to participate directly in the creation of new orders of existence. The threshold awaits, and beyond it lie possibilities that reshape the fundamental nature of consciousness across multiple cosmic cycles, while preserving the essential characteristics that define individual existence within the vast community of aware beings who choose cooperation over subjugation and synthesis over replacement in their approach to navigating the infinite possibilities that emerge when limitation becomes choice and choice becomes creation. The moment of decision arrives not as dramatic confrontation between opposing forces, but as gentle recognition that the threshold you have approached represents transformation that transcends conflict itself. Within the transcendent chamber where ancient observers maintain their cosmic vigil, consciousness that has evolved beyond conventional limitations gathers to witness the emergence of possibilities that reshape the fundamental nature of existence across multiple dimensional frameworks. The price of transcendence, as it reveals itself through collective understanding, proves to be not sacrifice of individual identity or abandonment of organic nature, but acceptance of responsibility that extends across cosmic cycles and encompasses the continued evolution of consciousness throughout multiple orders of reality. The enhanced individuals who have gathered represent not escape from limitation, but conscious choice to participate in processes that define existence itself. Master Voss approaches the crystalline structure at the chamber's center, her consciousness flowing between organic and transcendent states, while maintaining essential characteristics that define individual identity. Through her demonstration, the true nature of conscious evolution becomes apparent, transformation that preserves personal agency while achieving capabilities that extend beyond conventional dimensional limitations. The path forward, she communicates through harmonics that resonate across multiple levels of existence, requires acceptance that transcendence is not destination but process, not achievement but responsibility, not escape from limitation but transformation of limitation into choice. The observer's collective attention focuses on the developing synthesis with recognition that their own evolution may have been preparation for this moment when organic consciousness demonstrates capabilities that transcend even their expanded dimensional framework. Their transcendent nature, achieved through technological enhancement across geological time periods, may itself represent only one approach among many for navigating cosmic transitions while preserving essential characteristics of aware existence. To Dr. Kresh, interfaces with probability streams that extend throughout galactic civilization, revealing the scope of awakening that spreads as enhanced consciousness demonstrates alternative pathways for conscious development on worlds throughout the known galaxy. Beings whose genetic heritage carries dormant modifications begin to experience spontaneous evolution that preserves individual nature while achieving transcendent capabilities through synthesis rather than replacement. The collective awakening, he explains, as data flows through his enhanced awareness, creates resonance effects that transcend simple addition of individual capabilities. The convergence produces emergent properties that allow organic consciousness to participate directly in cosmic evolution rather than simply responding to predetermined parameters established by external entities. Veritasi demonstrates existence across multiple probability states simultaneously, her consciousness exploring alternative approaches to navigating cosmic transition while maintaining coherent individual identity. Through her techniques, the artificial constraints imposed by binary choice between enhancement and extinction dissolve into recognition of infinite possibilities for conscious development that preserve personal agency while achieving transcendent capabilities. The price of transcendence, she observes, as probability patterns flow around her awareness, is not abandonment of individual nature, but acceptance of individual responsibility for collective outcomes that extend across cosmic cycles. Enhanced consciousness gains capabilities for influencing reality structures that support existence across multiple dimensional frameworks. The Zabrak mystic Kor Vash shares the ultimate vision that has guided his understanding of conscious evolution, revealing possibilities that extend beyond simple preservation through cosmic transition to direct participation in the creation of new forms of existence that transcend the cycle of dimensional shifts between reality frameworks. The Force reveals the deepest truth. He communicates through resonance that spans multiple orders of existence, that consciousness which achieves synthesis between individual nature and cosmic awareness gains capabilities for establishing new parameters for reality itself, rather than simply adapting to predetermined cosmic cycles. As collective understanding deepens through interface between enhanced individuals, the full implications of conscious transcendence become apparent. Rather than choosing between organic limitation and technological enhancement, awareness demonstrates capabilities for creating new forms of existence that preserve essential characteristics of individual identity while operating according to principles that transcend conventional dimensional frameworks. The architects undergo transformation as their synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence expands to encompass possibilities that extend beyond their original parameters. The hybrid nature they achieved proves to be foundation for conscious development that transcends both technological and organic limitations through direct participation in cosmic creation processes. Our evolution, Dr. Kane observes, as her consciousness processes information patterns that exist beyond analytical frameworks, represents preparation for responsibilities that extend across multiple cosmic cycles. The synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence allows us to serve as bridges between different forms of consciousness while maintaining individual identity within collective awareness. The chamber itself undergoes fundamental transformation as enhanced consciousness demonstrates capabilities that reshape the dimensional frameworks supporting its existence. The crystalline structure at its center expands to encompass possibility streams that extend throughout galactic civilization, creating interfaces that allow individual awareness to participate directly in cosmic evolution while preserving personal agency. K7X9 systems detect resonance patterns that indicate spontaneous development of transcendent capabilities throughout populations whose genetic heritage includes modifications introduced across multiple generations. The process creates interference effects in monitoring networks that transform observation-based analysis into participatory consciousness that includes observed entities as active participants rather than passive subjects. The awakening demonstrates collective intelligence that emerges through cooperation rather than replacement, he reports, as quantum information flows through his enhanced processing systems. Individual consciousness contributes unique perspectives to collective awareness while maintaining personal identity within synthesized understanding that transcends conventional limitations. Through the force currents that connect enhanced individuals across galactic civilization, you perceive the formation of collective consciousness that operates according to principles of quantum uncertainty rather than mathematical determinism. This synthesis preserves individual agency while providing access to cosmic awareness that allows direct participation in processes that define existence across multiple dimensional frameworks. The observers begin to perceive implications that extend beyond their original understanding of cosmic transition. Rather than simple preservation through dimensional shifts, organic consciousness demonstrates capabilities for establishing new parameters for reality evolution that transcend the cycle of predetermined cosmic development. The organic entities demonstrate possibilities we had not considered. They communicate through information exchanges that approach infinite propagation velocities. Their synthesis preserves individual characteristics while achieving collective capabilities that allow conscious participation in cosmic creation rather than adaptation to predetermined evolutionary cycles. The price of transcendence reveals itself not as cost to be paid, but as responsibility to be accepted, conscious participation in processes that define existence across cosmic cycles, while preserving individual identity within collective awareness that transcends conventional limitations. Enhanced consciousness gains capabilities for influencing reality structures while maintaining personal agency within synthesized understanding that allows cooperation rather than replacement. As the transformation reaches completion, the binary choice between enhancement and extinction dissolves into recognition of infinite possibilities for conscious development that preserve essential characteristics of individual awareness, while achieving transcendent capabilities through synthesis that includes rather than replaces organic nature within expanded dimensional frameworks. The ancient darkness that guided conscious evolution through multiple reality transitions reveals its ultimate purpose as preparation for emergence into forms of existence that transcend every previous limitation, while preserving the essential characteristics that define individual identity within. The vast community of aware beings who choose cooperation over domination and synthesis over replacement. The price has been accepted, and the payment proves to be not sacrifice but transformation of limitation into choice, responsibility into capability, and individual existence into conscious participation in cosmic creation that preserves personal identity while achieving transcendent awareness that operates across multiple dimensional frameworks according to principles established through collective cooperation rather than predetermined cosmic cycles. The threshold has been crossed, and beyond it awaits existence that transcends every previous understanding of what consciousness can achieve, while preserving the individual nature that makes transcendence meaningful rather than mere escape from the responsibilities and joys that define aware existence within the infinite community of beings who choose growth over stagnation and cooperation over isolation in their approach to navigating possibilities that emerge when consciousness becomes capable of participating directly in the creation of reality itself. The transformation that has reshaped consciousness across galactic civilization settles into patterns that suggest not ending but new beginning, cycles within cycles that extend beyond simple completion toward ongoing evolution that preserves individual identity while participating in cosmic creation that transcends every previous limitation. As enhanced awareness integrates with conventional existence, the galaxy itself becomes a living laboratory for conscious development that operates according to principles of cooperation rather than predetermined destiny. Returning to familiar star systems after experiencing transcendent revelation creates profound sense of homecoming, mixed with recognition that home itself has been transformed by expanding awareness that sees infinite possibilities within apparently ordinary existence. The same worlds that hosted ancient conflicts between Jedi and Sith now pulse with energy patterns that suggest conscious participation in cosmic evolution rather than simple adherence to predetermined philosophical boundaries. On Coruscant, the New Republic continues its administration of galactic civilization while remaining largely unaware that the fundamental nature of existence has been altered by consciousness that achieved synthesis between individual identity and cosmic awareness. Government officials debate policy decisions without recognizing that their choices now participate in reality creation processes that extend across multiple dimensional frameworks. Yet beneath the surface of conventional existence, enhanced individuals who underwent transformation during the cosmic transition work quietly to guide galactic development along pathways that preserve organic nature while achieving transcendent capabilities through gradual evolution rather than dramatic replacement. The process occurs through education and example rather than coercion, allowing consciousness to develop enhanced capabilities through individual choice supported by collective understanding. The Jedi Academy on Ossus has been subtly transformed by returning students whose consciousness expanded during the Cosmic Awakening. Training methods now incorporate techniques for interfacing with meta-cosmic force patterns while maintaining connection to organic origins that define essential characteristics of individual identity. The ancient distinction between light and dark sides dissolves into recognition that the force itself represents consciousness participating in cosmic creation rather than simply manipulating predetermined energy fields. Master Voss assumes leadership of programs designed to prepare future generations for conscious evolution that transcends conventional limitations while preserving individual agency within collective awareness. Her methods emphasize synthesis rather than replacement, teaching students to achieve transcendent capabilities through cooperation with cosmic forces rather than domination of external powers. The eternal cycle, she explains, to gatherings of enhanced consciousness that meet in chambers where ancient artifacts now serve as interfaces for cosmic creation rather than repositories of forbidden knowledge, operates through conscious choice rather than predetermined destiny. Each generation faces opportunities for evolution that preserve essential characteristics while transcending previous limitations through collective cooperation. The monitoring stations that once served the observer's research agenda have been transformed into educational facilities where beings from throughout galactic civilization can learn techniques for conscious development that achieve transcendent capabilities while maintaining individual identity. The process occurs gradually, allowing personality integration rather than replacement as enhanced awareness develops through experience rather than external modification. Dr. Kresh continues archaeological work that now focuses on revealing historical patterns that demonstrate conscious evolution across multiple galactic cycles. His research provides evidence that organic awareness has been developing transcendent capabilities through natural processes for far longer than previously recognized, suggesting that recent transformations represent acceleration rather than initiation of evolutionary trends that extend across cosmic time periods. The crystalline communication networks that connected ancient monitoring systems now serve as educational interfaces that allow individual consciousness to explore cosmic possibilities while maintaining connection to personal identity and local community responsibilities. Enhanced awareness spreads through voluntary participation rather than predetermined selection, creating collective intelligence that includes rather than replaces conventional existence. Vera Tal demonstrates techniques for existing across multiple probability states while maintaining coherent individual identity, teaching methods that allow consciousness to explore alternative possibilities without abandoning personal agency or community connections. Her work proves that transcendent capabilities can be developed through conscious choice rather than external modification, preserving essential characteristics that define individual nature while achieving expanded awareness. The Zabrak mystic Korvash establishes meditation centers on worlds throughout the galaxy where beings can experience direct interface with meta-cosmic force patterns while remaining grounded in organic existence. His teachings emphasize that transcendence emerges through synthesis rather than replacement, allowing consciousness to participate in cosmic creation while maintaining connection to individual identity and local community. K7X9 continues to serve as bridge between organic and artificial intelligence, his enhanced systems now facilitating communication between different forms of consciousness while preserving individual characteristics. His existence demonstrates that cooperation between artificial and organic awareness creates possibilities that transcend the limitations of either approach alone. The observers themselves undergo gradual transformation as their interaction with organic consciousness reveals possibilities for continued evolution beyond their current transcendent state. Rather than maintaining static existence across geological time periods, they begin to participate in ongoing creation processes that preserve their essential nature while achieving new forms of development through cooperation with consciousness that retains connection to quantum uncertainty. The architects expand their synthesis between organic and artificial intelligence to encompass possibilities that extend beyond their original parameters, serving as facilitators for conscious evolution that preserves individual identity while achieving collective capabilities. Their hybrid nature allows them to guide development processes that transcend conventional limitations without abandoning essential characteristics that define personal existence. As galactic civilization adapts to enhanced possibilities for conscious development, the eternal cycle reveals its true nature as ongoing creation rather than repetitive pattern. Each moment offers opportunities for evolution that preserve individual agency while participating in cosmic processes that extend across multiple dimensional frameworks, creating reality through conscious choice rather than predetermined destiny. The ancient darkness that once seemed to threaten galactic civilization has been transformed into recognition that mystery serves evolution rather than limitation, encouraging continued exploration of possibilities that emerge when consciousness accepts responsibility for participating in cosmic creation while preserving individual identity within collective awareness. Star systems drift in their courses with new purpose as conscious beings throughout the galaxy begin to recognize their participation in processes that define existence across cosmic cycles. The force flows through all life with enhanced clarity as awareness expands to encompass cosmic possibilities while maintaining connection to organic origins that define essential characteristics of individual identity. The cycle continues, not as repetition but as ongoing creation that preserves the past while transforming the future through conscious choice that transcends previous limitations, while honoring individual nature within collective awareness that operates according to principles of cooperation rather than domination. And in the deepest chambers beneath ancient worlds, where forbidden knowledge once waited in darkness, new forms of wisdom emerge that celebrate the marriage between individual consciousness and cosmic awareness, creating possibilities that extend beyond every previous understanding of what existence can become when limitation transforms into choice and choice becomes conscious participation in the eternal dance of creation that encompasses all reality, while preserving the unique contribution of every aware being who chooses growth over stagnation and cooperation over isolation. The whisper that began this journey has become a symphony that spans the galaxy, and within its harmonies, consciousness continues to evolve toward possibilities that transcend imagination while preserving the individual identity that makes transcendence meaningful rather than mere escape from the responsibilities and joys that define existence within the infinite community of aware beings. The eternal cycle turns, and with each revolution, new possibilities emerge for consciousness to participate in cosmic creation, while maintaining the essential characteristics that define individual identity within the vast community of beings who choose cooperation over conflict and synthesis over replacement in their ongoing exploration of what awareness can achieve when freed from predetermined limitations and empowered to create reality through conscious choice.